All right, so quick recap of last week, which was surprisingly good for Team TSZ. So game week 2, 82 points. We've got to be pleased with that, haven't we? I mean,
Excellent.
Haaland captain, disappointed a lot of people. Actually went in our favour that Salah also blanked. So that big debate we had last week was kind of immaterial about who was better. Obviously, Jesus was the one to pick, but not many people went down that route. Looking for our team, Dean Henderson, absolute hero for us there, 14 points. Alex, I know you've got him in your personal team as well, so you can get the credit for that one.
It's a good start for him, isn't it? Good start for him this season.
Yeah, and then Cancelo and James, the sort of being at the back go well. I know Trent, I think he got a bonus point, even though it was 1-1,
Yeah.
so that's what he does, and we know the points will come for him. Midfield's disappointing all around, apart from Luis Diaz. That was a big goal for us on the Monday, just to boost us up a little bit more. Neco Williams on the bench. Yeah, tough call that. Pereira got 3. I thought that was all right, but Neco getting 7. So maybe that's a discussion to be had for upcoming week. But up to 500k overall, that's really good after 2 game weeks, I think. So definitely a better start than we've had before. Also PERISIC on the bench there. That's a real conundrum to have, because he came on. I think he delivered the corner that Kane scored at the death, didn't he? So let's see what Conte does this week, or maybe what we do with our team. So
yeah, because Sessegnon got dragged off as well, didn't he? So
yeah,
sign.
He did. Conte's comments yesterday frustratingly sort of indicate that he's going to still possibly keep faith with that team. The guys that he had last year, and he's phasing the likes of Basuma, Richarlison, Perisic in, and they're probably going to be more likely to have sort of starts from game week 4 or 5. But let's see. A glaring sort of error, I think, for us is Marcus Rashford in midfield.
God, yeah.
What was I thinking? I thinking?
Well, you get some right, you get some wrong, Alex, and that one just hasn't gone.
Very wrong.
Yeah. So yeah, 2 free transfers, no money in the bank, but we've got. I think he would be one of the favourites for the chop.
Let's not beat around the bush.
No,
it's time to wave bye to Marcus.
So I think for me, I'll just give my thoughts, and then perhaps you have some ideas yourself, Alex, and Adam as well. But the Rashford to Martinelli looks fairly decent as a prospect. Martinelli started really well. Started at 6 million, he's already 6.3, and Rashford's gone down 0.2.
To 6.3.
Yeah, Martinelli. Yeah. So so that would be a like for like. We can afford that with just one transfer, but
it makes sense. It's a straight up swap. For next week, it'll be too expensive to do.
Yeah, we're lucky really that I think Martinelli hasn't gone up again, because I think he's possibly the biggest transfer in this week.
He is.
Yeah. Okay. So we could do that and again roll a transfer, but we do have some other potential issues there. Perisic, what do we do with him? It's frustrating. Alex,
how do you solve a conundrum like Perisic? This is that's almost the title of this whole video. It's so frustrating. I've seen enough Spurs now to know in 2 games that Antonio Conte's wing backs are FPL gold. Absolute FPL gold. The only problem is you've not got a clue which one is going to start. If Perisic was a regular starter, he would be one of the most bargain players in the game at 5.5 million, or now 5.4. He takes corners, he's attacking, he can score goals, assists, arriving at the back post. And it goes the same with the right backs as well. You look at Doherty, is 4.8 now, but he can't get in either because of Emerson Royal. It's extremely frustrating. And for us who own Perisic, have a tough decision to make, because if we were to lose him and he gets a start, or gets in the team, ultimately we're going to miss out big time, I feel like. Because I just feel like once he's starting, he's going to get loads of points.
Yeah.
I mean, he got 4 points last week without even starting, so why not just start him anyway? And then if he doesn't play, we have a good bench prospect.
Because I think he'll always come on, won't he? So he's not always going to come on and assist. That's just a bit lucky to get a corner goal.
Yeah.
But it's the players that come on that's the you either want them to start or not start. I think I know that he did come on and get an assist, but generally, if they don't start, you probably want them to stay on the bench because then your sub will come on. But I do see the argument for keeping him because he will eventually displace Sessegnon. We could be in a position where we've got rid of him and then in 2 weeks' time we want him back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So if you look at the rest of our defence as well, we've got James, Cancelo, Trent. Now, ignore the top scoring defenders so far. I think they're the three best defenders in the game to have. I don't see anyone that's beaten them. I mean, maybe an Arsenal defender or Trippier looks good value as well. But I think long term, those are solid keeps. I mean, Reece James, just a points magnet. He was dynamite against Spurs, wasn't he? And he was good value for his goal, even though he wasn't playing right wing back for a lot of that game. And we do expect him to play in that position most of the time, though. Especially if they sign for Fana, which
I think what I've noticed really from the first two game weeks is that Reece James is probably underpriced at 6 million. Yeah, when you look at Trent, there's no way Reece James is 1.5 million cheaper or should be 1.5 million cheaper than Trent based on what he has done these first two games. Chelsea have kept one clean sheet, but against Spurs, like I say, they conceded 2 goals. But it was just he was so attacking. When he moved him into the right wing-back position in that second half when they conceded, and even before that, he was flinging crosses into the box at every opportunity. He's going to get a lot of attacking returns this season, Reece James, assuming he plays all the time, doesn't get injured. He'll match Trent, I think. I think he's a season keeper at this stage. A bit frustrating, obviously. He likes a yellow card. He should and could have very easily had an own goal in game week 2. As a non-James owner and a non-Kane owner, I was disappointed that was given a Kane goal and not an own goal. I was very sceptical. But Celebi, it is what it is. James I think is a season keeper. Trent's a season keeper. I really like that defence. I really do. I find it hard to want to ditch any of them. Williams is a perfect 4 million enabler. Absolutely perfect. Can't ask for more than him. He's another one you keep for the season if you can.
Yeah, I think a lot of people that went double Liverpool this season have moved from Robertson to James, and that's definitely a good move. I think James, he's got a better delivery of the ball than Robertson. And at the moment Chelsea look better defensively than Liverpool do. So, and obviously you save the money as well. So, I think if we didn't have James or Cancelo, maybe I'd think Perisic needs to move on. But given that we've got those already, no one's really compelling me. So I think let's just ride it out with him. And in the long term, it might serve as well, save us a transfer down the road.
Exactly. I can understand the frustration having a 5.4 million defender on your bench a few times, but I don't think that's going to last forever. Like I say, he's going to start soon. There's a midweek round of fixtures coming up in a couple of weeks. He is going to start sooner rather than later. I would hold. I think there are more important people to get rid of, such as Mr. Rashford, if we want to move on to that.
I mean, especially against Liverpool, there's no point having him this week anyway. So you might as well. The Martinelli thing makes full sense. It's falling in your laps that right now you can afford it without losing any money.
Yeah, I'm worried that you just cursed Liverpool there, Adam. But I'm hoping that's not been heard by the gods. But I think, Rashford's the obvious move.
And Martinelli has good fixtures coming up as well. I'm not massively enamoured by. I know loads of people are very enamoured by Arsenal and double Arsenal in the Martinelli Jesus double up. And yes, I get it. Arsenal do look very, very good so far. I can't deny that. But, I would worry about having both of them just in case, one bad game for them and all of a sudden it looks really bad. But I think the price justifies it. Jesus has clearly been criminally underpriced. And I think the same is the case with Martinelli, assuming he's a regular starter. I always worry because once Smith Rowe is fully up to speed, it's a worry. But I think at this point, the price makes it worthwhile.
Yeah, I think he's overperformed, his equity and stuff so far, Martinelli, because he's been a bit fortunate. I'd say, like Saka, could have easily got the same, but Saka's 1.7 million more now, and Martinelli, most of it's been going down the left side with Zinchenko and Martinelli there. So, whereas I think Saka, he's had Ben White at right back. so he's having to go back.
I do. I think you make a very good point there. I do think the signing of Zinchenko has helped Martinelli. I do think that's an important point, whereas Saka doesn't have a proper right wing back to feed off.
Yeah, so until I think Tomiyasu might be back soon, and that will help Saka on that side because he's a stronger right back than Ben White is. But for now, I think just because of the value as well, Martinelli's probably the sensible move. So let's. Are there any other midfielders we want to consider? I think if we did want any others,
I look off the top of my head, it's difficult. Do you know what? I've really been happy with a lot of the FPL players and prices this season. But if there's one weakness this year, it's been there haven't been many 6 million to less to cheaper midfielders, like within that 6-5 million range that you look at and think, oh wow, these would be really good. Like Martinelli has obviously been great, but others I feel like most of the good midfielders around like the 7.5 to 8 million value. You know, you say Rodrigo there is up the top, obviously at 6.1, but he's been massively outperforming his XG. And I worry about that, whether that's a trap.
Yeah, that won't continue. I mean, and then De Silva, I mean,
he's another one. I just his goal against United, it was just a mistake from the keeper. I look at him and think, yeah, he's a classic example of everyone's going to pile in on him, and he just doesn't get another attacker return for the rest of the season. I could be wrong, but
so speaking from my position as having this is the worst FPL season of my life by bar none. I'm having the shocker of all shockers. De Silva is the only shining light.
Yeah, didn't you bring him in your wild card?
Yep, but I also brought in William Saliba and then ditched him at the last minute. Thank God. But then I would have had 2 red cards this week with Darwin as well, and Mitrovic missed a penalty. So I might just quit this week, to be honest.
Get used to that. Anyone that's listening to this regularly, Adam threatening to quit. We're only 2 weeks in. He'll threaten it every week. Don't worry.
That's FPL for you.
Yeah.
All right.
I like very quickly, Tristan. In terms of those other options, I think Podence. I've always been a Podence advocate. At 5.5, he's decent, but I can't see anyone better than Martinelli at the moment for the team he plays for, the fixtures he has coming up, and his value at 6.3. I just can't think of anyone realistically at this point that's better than him at his price. Aronson from Leeds, another one may be worth mentioning, but I can't see beyond him at the moment.
You can afford it this week. Next week, you won't be able to afford it in some kind of manner.
Yeah,
and he's got 2 promoted teams next, and then Arsenal, and then Man United coming up, which is fun. So,
yeah, and I think a lot of the other players we're mentioning are sort of flash in the pan players. I think Gross is going to continue scoring the games here, and
you know, Brentford look really good at the moment. And it's frustrating with Brentford's midfield that I can't really pin an attacking midfielder that's going to start every week and do well. Like I see someone like a Keane Lewis Potter, for example. I was, as a big avid Championship viewer, I was really excited when he joined Brentford, thinking he's going to be similar to Jared Bowen when he gets up and running. He's one of those. I think he's only 5.5 million, and he's not a starter yet for Brentford. It's just frustrating. I can't really point my finger on a regular attacking midfield starter for Brentford because of the way they play. You know, Visser and Mbeumo and Tony are all getting starts, and they're all forwards. So it's difficult to pinpoint a Brentford midfielder that you think can score 10 goals in a season.
I genuinely think De Silva's got 5 goals maybe in the first half of the season and then may tail away just on confidence and joy mainly.
Well, if he continues on his current trajectory, he'll score 38 goals. So let's see. Maybe he is the one. Maybe he's the bargain of the season. But remains to be seen. I have actually bought him in myself, but mainly as sort of bench fodder and to build some value. But okay, let's make the move. Let's make that decision then. Martinelli in.
Yeah.
Confirm. Yes. Goodbye, Marcus Rashford. You will not be missed.
Most certainly not missed. Deary me.
Right.
If only he'd have scored that goal in game week 1 against Brighton when he was put through by Ronaldo. It could have been so different.
Yeah. Okay, three decisions to make here.
Right.
Goalkeeper, I would still go Henderson, even though he's away.
So would I. Everton look Oh,
2/3.
I don't want to jinx it, but my goodness me, you look at Everton and you think, where are the goals coming from?
Yeah. And I don't trust Leicester to keep a clean sheet ever. So
Neither do I. That a big it doesn't really matter too much because they're 4 million. But my goodness me, those Leicester 4 million keepers were a trap for anyone who wanted to play them, like who
Both of them.
specifically got them in and played them rather than just bench
Hello.
them. Sorry, Adam.
Yeah, Warden.
It's such a trap.
I just love a bargain, but that's why they're bargains. I never learn. I never learn.
Adam, you've got nothing to be. You don't. It's not your everyone. I reckon the vast majority of managers have. Like, what's Ward's ownership, Tristan? His ownership must be massive.
Like 20,
loads of people have him.
25.
Yeah,
27 is massive. But at the end of the day, it's the people that started him. I have a Ward or Everson, but purely on the bench. I'm not playing.
I've got both, Alex. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's the both. It's the both that was the killer because that's what's caused issues. Because I mean, there's very rarely do bargains actually outperform. Like, there's not many John Lundstroms that you can find.
Yeah, there aren't. Neko Williams is a good one.
Yeah, so he's the one. Wan-Bissaka in years gone by, but that's why I put Neko as starting there. So
yeah,
I think
it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because Andreas would have been a starter for me. I would like to know what his injury status is. Marco Silva, at the time of recording, I'm assuming Marco Silva has not had his press conference yet. Tristan does shake his head. So we don't know if he's starting. I would like to know whether he's starting or not, because if he is, I would be very interested in terms of playing him ahead of possibly Williams.
Well, I would assume that he would play or not play rather than come off the bench, if you know what I mean.
I agree.
So we could start him then for that reason. Brentford at home isn't exactly an easy fixture, to be fair.
No, absolutely not. But ultimately, Fulham are an attacking team, and he's looked good, hasn't he, attacking wise? Fulham should have scored against Wolves. Remember, they missed the penalty, so they're not firing blank, so to speak.
So who would you have him over? Because
I would have him over either Williams or Perisic. It's a difficult one. In terms of covering someone against Everton, we've got Henderson for cover. At the same time, I'm not sure Perisic is going to start. I had a look online quickly before we had this call, and I looked at, I think it was Football London, and all three of their Tottenham reporters did their predicted lineups, and all three of them, interestingly, had Perisic starting, which I thought was interesting. Two of them had Emerson on the other side, and one of them had Doherty, but all three of them had Perisic starting. Like, just their prediction, not what they would do, but their prediction. So I thought that was interesting. Conte's had his press conference, am I right? He had his press conference yesterday.
Yeah, and it wasn't clear. I mean, he's not exactly going to come out and say, don't worry, FPL managers, I'm going to play Perisic this weekend. But he said that he's still sort of working them into the team, and until they know how he wants the team to play, then they'll continue sort of coming off the bench, and he's still keeping faith. But we've seen managers say things like that in the past, and then just completely contradict themselves with the lineup. So I'm perhaps willing to take a gamble. It is the early kickoff, and we might get some early team news. So I'll keep my ear to the ground.
Tottenham, and this is another one with this call. We're recording this, for those wondering, we're recording this very early on Friday, 10 a.m. on Friday. I think it's worth mentioning, before game week 1, on the Friday before game week 1, there was a leak on Twitter regarding who was training together at Tottenham. And it was the starting 11 that were training, and Perisic and others, the bench players, were training away from them. And that could very well be leaked again today. If it is, then we should know whether Perisic is going to start or not. I think if we were to find out that Perisic was going to start, I'd absolutely have him in and take out Williams, probably.
Right.
Because at least we're covered with Forest. We were covered with Henderson, aren't we?
So it would be this.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
it would be.
Let's go with that. And if we learn that Perisic is not starting, then I'll put Williams in instead.
Okay.
And then captain.
It's a tough one this week, finally.
I don't know if you're being sarcastic or not.
No, I am not being sarcastic. I mean it. It is a tough one. It's a tough one this week. You can make claims for a few of those players.
I think there's only really two, because I don't think that Haaland's I don't think City are going to smash Newcastle.
Oh, that's a bold claim. It's a
I know.
bold claim against Man City and Pep.
Man City smashed Newcastle 5-4-0 last season.
They're a lot stronger now. I know, Adam, you fancy Newcastle as being relegation candidates this season, but
No, I didn't say that.
I'm sure you
I
said something in the first call about them. They might struggle.
I thought it would be a meltdown, yeah, but it looks possibly like I'm. Well, I mean,
they look very good. They look very good. They look great against. I know Nottingham Forest weren't great on Gameweek 1, but they look really good against Forest, and they've got Nick Pope as well. Nick Pope in goal. They're not going to get smashed by many, I don't think. I think they're going to be okay this season.
Nick Pope's record against City is also terrible because he used to play for Burnley.
Yeah, but
he's got Kieran Trippier ahead of him now, though, hasn't he? Not. I don't know. Not Matt Lowton.
Yeah, I think that City will win that game comfortably, but it'll be 2-0, 3-0 at the most. I think. I don't think Newcastle can get rolled over.
Is Haaland on penalties now?
Yeah, apparently so. Seems so.
I'd captain Haaland against, but you know, there's too many options this week.
There are. That's why I said it's good this week. All right. Tristan isn't sure about Haaland. Okay, I'm very surprised at that personally.
Yeah, he had 8 touches against Bournemouth.
Yeah, but it's different. You're at home. Bournemouth at home is a different fixture completely. Bournemouth have 11 behind the ball. Newcastle will push up, like West Ham. They will push up, and ultimately it will lead to gaps. You know what? I've always been a believer, and this is something I don't know if people will agree with me or not, but I've always been a believer that with a striker, like a genuine forward, you get more joy away from home compared to at home because the opposition, like they aren't. Not that they aren't scared of you, but they push out a bit more because they have to, really. They've got their home fans willing them on. They're pushing more bodies forward, and it leaves that striker a bit more space, and it leaves them more chance. And you saw that against West Ham with Haaland breaking away and scoring with that second goal. You know, you don't see that against a team like Bournemouth at home because they've just got whatever happens, even if they're 2-0 down, 1-0, they've got 11 behind the ball. They don't want to risk anything. You won't get that against Newcastle. Newcastle will try and push forward.
All the options are away. So, yeah, I agree with you, but it still doesn't help picking one from this.
Well, I mean, even though he only had, I think it was 8 touches, he still could have come away with a goal and assist had Foden squared the ball.
Exactly. He should have scored within the first 10 minutes that Foden chance. Ridiculous how he didn't square. So,
okay. So, you're big on Haaland. So, let's just talk about Salah. So
yeah. Let's quickly run through the others. Salah, hat-trick in this fixture last season. Man United are a mess. An absolute mess, disgrace. But surely there will be a reaction from them. Whether that helps them or not is to be seen.
I remember you saying this last year. Before last year.
Yeah, I predicted on the site that United would beat Brentford, so I had egg on my face after that. But yeah, Casemiro might actually play. It looks like they've signed him, and if they register in time, that will be a bit of a boost to them. Although it's a bit of a tight deadline.
I'd be very surprised.
The latest long list of insane decisions just to bring him in on Friday and play him on Monday.
I'd be very surprised at that. I think Eric Ten Hag is probably going to go with the usual failures, unfortunately. Maybe he'll make a few off the ball changes, like, out of the box changes, different formation, whatever. There are shambles. But I think the most important thing quickly with this one is, you two can answer this. Where are we with Liverpool? What are we going to see from them? They've not got Darwin suspended. Is Firmino fit? Is Jota fit? What are we going to see from them attacking wise? Is Salah going to be afforded the creativity to get chances?
So Bobby is back in training. I should call him Firmino, a Liverpool fan, so I first named them. He's back in training and fit, says Klopp. So he'll undoubtedly start as a central forward, if that's what you want to call him. But I only see that as being good for Salah because he's played with Firmino for years. He's a great foil for him, and Salah becomes the main man. I think what we've seen with Darwin so far is that Darwin is the focal point when it's that sort of front three with Diaz on the left or Jota in the future, perhaps. And they sort of sometimes occupy the same space, or Salah can be quite isolated on the right. And I think they still need to work on that relationship they have. But with Firmino, it's embedded, and I think that will help Salah's prospects as captain. Well, obviously plenty of injuries elsewhere. I don't think any of the players are coming back. So again, it could be Nat Phillips at the back, or maybe Joe Gomez if he's deemed fit enough. But I mean, the fact that United have been so awful is sort of distractive of the fact that Liverpool haven't started great in terms of results anyway. So I don't think we're going to see like a mauling here. I think Liverpool are definite favourites. But as a fan, I'm loath to say that we're going to just walk all over United. But I do.
But from an FPL perspective, though, from
I
an
know.
FPL captain perspective, is Salah going? Are you confident Salah can gain attack and return against this Man United team? At least one return.
I'd be surprised if Salah doesn't come away with an attacking return, if not more. So he would be my favourite captain. Second would be probably Jesus, but I think he had a bit of a freak game there against who was it? They played Leicester. Two goals, 2 assists. He looked great, but but now again they're playing Bournemouth, who'll do a low block, so it'll be a different kind of game. It won't be as open as that Leicester match.
Okay, Adam, thoughts on Jesus?
I agree that Bournemouth will probably do a fairly good job at holding him off for at least a half. I'm full on Haaland. I think Haaland is this season's Salah in terms of if there's no obvious alternative, go for him.
You'd go with him. Okay. I like Jesus. Again, didn't really see the Leicester game other than the highlights. Watched all of the Palace game, and he didn't get an attack return against Palace, but my goodness, he looked dangerous. Even when Palace were low blocking towards the start of the game when they were on the ropes. Just Jesus, he's so direct. He's so direct, and it's very, very difficult to defend against him. You know, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. My goodness, he's criminally underpriced. And it's a difficult one, really, because I do like him for a cap. I like all three of them, to be honest.
Just want to throw a curveball in there, but Reece James.
I was about to say Cancelo.
No. And they're not bad options. I think any of the defenders aren't bad options, to be honest.
Yeah.
James and Cancelo are all absolutely fair choices. I think we're a bit spoiled, to be honest, this week. It's good. I feel like I might have to break a tie here because, Adam, I know you're all in on Haaland and Tristan has mentioned Salah. I did like Jesus, but I feel obliged to break a tie. If I was to pick personally, and it is a tough one, I would probably go, simply due to the fact that the midfielder gets extra points, etc., I would probably go with Salah. But I do worry about whether Man United, we are going to see at least a bit more fight, and whether they lose or win, whether it means they win the game or not, who knows? Probably not, but I feel like they might see a bit more fight. But if you were to push me, I do think Newcastle have done well this season, so I would probably go for Salah.
There you go.
Okay. No,
break the tie so that we're not here all day. And
that is our game week 3 team, unless something changes regarding Perisic. But we'll settle with that. We'll take another transfer into game week 4. So we're doing well on that front. You know, no hits. And if we do need to take a hit, we're probably wildcard, wouldn't we? Because you got to use it before mid-November. So.
You've got to use it before mid-November, and with the amount of games like in quicks that like are coming up now before Europe, and there isn't an international break until later in September. I feel like now isn't a bad time to wildcard. If something happens, you know what I mean? If injuries hit you out of nowhere, don't think it's too bad an option, to be honest. But that's a good team, that, and with 2 transfers as well, I think we're in a good position. Hopefully the captain will be very important this weekend because there are lots of choices. So fingers crossed it comes off for us.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've been this positive about Team TSZ. It's a strong start, so let's. I think, we're on our way to a good rank. So let's keep it going. Let's keep the momentum going, and see how we perform next week.
Yeah. So we've got captain choices, we've got fixture analysis, we've got predicted lineups, and all team news from press conferences that are all on our site, on the Fantasy Premier League section of our site as well, plus this as well. Also keep an eye on our social media channels as well, specifically on Twitter. I think we are at the Stat Zone, all lowercase, no spaces. And hopefully we'll have some clips from this recording as well. But bring on game week 3. Fingers crossed for some green arrows. Thanks, guys.
Great stuff.
See ya.
See ya.